Good morning to the live stream. I just realized this morning that what I'm doing here is a little bit more like a podcast. So I'm not sure how to refer to the time that I'm doing here online to just do all the cactus stuff that I would otherwise do. But yeah, it's a little bit like a podcast, so maybe I would just change the title a little bit. But yeah, just wanted to mention that. Feeling like, we are discussing all kinds of different things on the live stream. Doing a lot of stuff, sowing out cactus seeds, sowing out fruit, vegetables, cleaning seeds is what I'm doing right now. So a lot of it is like a podcast, and I might even maybe call it that at one point, but right now we're just continuing the way I always did, just calling it general questions and stuff like that. Feel like that fits too. So yeah, I will continue to clean the seeds from yesterday. Good morning, everyone, to the stream, or good evening wherever you are. I mean, I'm doing it vertically again, like with the portrait mode kind of streaming. I just didn't like that yesterday. It didn't show me the comments all the time. Maybe that's a settings thing, and I will be able to adjust it. But for now, I just wanted to have it the way it used to be, where I always saw the comments. Kind of, there's a little bit of a delay sometimes with the horizontal mode. Like at least they don't show them right away, or if you miss it, if you look away for a minute, you don't see it. Hey, good morning, mate. Welcome to the stream. I just talked about maybe we should call it a podcast at some point, because it's like looking a little bit like that. Doing a lot of stuff that you would do on a podcast. But yeah, I'm still cleaning the seeds that I have here from yesterday. And I want to get these clean because they are great. This is a good hybrid, and I want to make progress with the seeds. And then I brought a lot of new containers again that I want to check on. So yeah, thank you guys for joining. Great to have you here. Yeah, we're cleaning seeds right now, and then I want to move on to go through the containers because there's so many of them. I haven't done it in a while. Hey, good morning. Yeah, right now I like the camera angle pretty good. Like this is pretty nice. The way I have it now, I don't always manage to have the perfect angle, but this is great for showing what I do. I really like that too. And yeah, good morning. Hey. I really feel like that's what this portrait mode kind of stream is. It focuses a little bit more on the center, on the person that's explaining something, or that is kind of good. If you have a wider angle, I mean, it would be better for like when you have a studio or something like that, but what I have here is pretty limited. And the wider you go, the more you reach the book rack on the other side. But yeah, at some point I might even call that thing a podcast, what we're doing here. And then I looked around this morning if there are other podcasts regarding cacti out there. And I saw that Cactusjerk has one. Haven't listened to them yet, but maybe I will do, just to see what they talk about on a cactus podcast. Like a podcast is a little bit more like where you're talking about a certain subject every time. We could do that on stream too, but you're kind of a little bit on one subject. At least that's how I see a podcast. We'll see. I will just do what feels right here with this stream, with this hour or two that I'm doing every morning. So yeah, apart from that, everything's going okay. Yeah, I'm not sure, honestly, if it's in German. The Cactusjerk podcast, I think the name is in English, like it's written Cactus podcast in English, I think that's the name. So if they have done it in German, then maybe the title isn't really helping, but again, I haven't listened to it yet. I want to check it out just to get an idea what a Cactus podcast would do, how that would be like. Talking about, hey guys, let's talk about this subject. It could be great. It could work great when you have like a different kind of person on the podcast every time. But it's basically what I'm doing right now already, like where I feel like where I consider bringing in people like other creators. I'm still not at the point where I have looked around enough to say, okay, this time we will invite someone, but at some point I want to do that here. Just inviting people, experts in their fields, to have a chat. That's the plan long term. But not only, I mean, in summer we're outdoors doing just cactus filming work. So I'm not even sure if I can do that kind of thing in summer. But in winter, over winter now, this is a great thing to do every day. And I don't want to limit it on cacti either, or plants. I mean, I'm happy to talk the world. In that regard, by the way, I wanted to say something. Yesterday, my mother went shopping and someone stole the purse from the side of her jacket. Feels like while she was walking around in the store, and she's like really unhappy. She's really, really unhappy because all like when they steal your purse, it also has all the identification, all the paperwork. So now she has to spend a lot of time and money to get all the papers reissued. So I just hope that the guy who took it will eventually have a guilty conscience and at least bring the papers back, like put it in the mailbox, whatever. But that stood out yesterday. That was my day yesterday. I spent half the day talking with my mother to just make sure she's not so sad. And it takes. I was really sad yesterday that happened, and I hope that that purse will show up again. No, she wasn't robbed. It's like when they are walking through the city and they are behind you where you don't even see them, and they just take out your purse, out of they open up the zipper without you noticing it, like what they are also doing in the big cities and in a lot of European big cities. Like that's a problem there. It wasn't really a problem here in the past, at least not in such a scale, but things have gotten worse in that regard. They are doing this like organized, like trying to my mother talked about like that a friend of hers had the same happening in the same kind of store, like maybe they are targeting certain stores because they know that their security isn't up to standards, whatever, I don't know. But that's the impression that I got, and yeah, spend a lot of time just making sure my mom is all right yesterday on the phone. This morning I called her again this morning. They often they don't show what this kind of stuff does to people, like to older people. I mean, my mother is not super old, she's over 60. But yeah, it's still a mean thing to do. So yeah, but it's okay. I mean, we'll get all the papers reissued. We'll make sure that I will help her to make everything, like to get back most of the important stuff. The bank cards are already terminated, and yeah, it will be all right. But it's just at that time of year, when it's already difficult for my family. My family's been going through a rough time at the moment. My father has MS. My mother's ill, and then they steal that little money that you have from you. I was really disappointed that happened yesterday, and I wish I had been there, you know. But she was on the road with my grandmother, who's over almost 90 now. So yeah, and she, of course, she didn't even notice it. She only noticed that someone had opened the zipper. Hey, good morning. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the podcast or whatever. I mean, I just realized I'm basically doing a podcast with extra steps. But yeah, I enjoy it. So I'm just cleaning cactus seeds just in case someone has found us and doesn't know what we're doing here. Cleaning the cactus seeds from yesterday. These are Eckert's schönste, interesting hybrid, like with ruffled flowers. And then I will start checking the seedlings that I brought here. I brought a lot. But now it's good that I at least bag these kinds of seeds because they are great. People will go crazy over them. Like when I'm donating them, I'm doing some sort of, I don't know. We'll see what I will do, but people will be happy to have these. So, Eckert's schönste. Eckert's schönste. German name, referring to the breeder Karl Eckert. And it means the most beautiful one by Karl Eckert. In the past, they did that a lot, where they kind of, when they chose a name for a hybrid, they just added something like schönste, meaning most beautiful, or beste, you know, the best. And yeah, there are a lot of these old school names that wouldn't really like stand today, because the naming regulations have changed a lot. Back then in the 50s when that happened, or in the 80s or whatever, nobody really cared about that, but things have changed. So they're using different names now. Yeah, that's right. You know, the way they used it was that for the good breeders, every now and then someone would just name a plant the breeder's name and his schönste, you know, like that kind of naming habit to honor very good hybrids of a breeder, and that is great. I mean, it's just a name that was used a lot, and I don't care, you know. I don't care if someone wants to name it that, you know. I wouldn't have a problem with it. But apparently, there's this whole codex full of things you should and should not do when naming a plant, and apparently schönste, best, these kinds of adjectives are prohibited. But yeah, I have no interest in it either way. I mean, no opinion on it. I mean, so yeah, let's start to check the seedling containers, and we have sown these out over the last 1.5 months, maybe. Okay, let me put this aside. Yeah, that's right. I mean, if you think about it, if they called one hybrid the best one, and then afterwards another plant flowers and it's even better, that's a very poor kind of thing. It looks very poor. So yeah, okay. They usually do it like posthumously, if that's a word, if that was the right word, but they do it after a person a breeder is already has, you know, died, you know, like after that, to honor him in his honor. Then they kind of do that often, but it has stopped recently. I haven't seen it in a while. And this one, Eckert's schönste, I don't know, maybe 20 years old. I'm not sure how old it is exactly. So it shows you it still was done by some breeders, you know. The naming regulations, nobody is really enforcing them on names right now. I mean, people kind of come up with all these names, and there's no regulation thing that says, okay, that name is yours now. You have to describe them. You have to write a real description with the name and have to follow all the regulations that are there, and then it will be seen like in the scientific community as the original description and all. But nobody really cares. Nobody's really doing it the way it is done with Cactus. Like there's this database, I thought about that. I wanted to do it. I even have a domain name for it. I registered the domain name echinopsis.org for that kind of stuff, to do such a database, but it was so much work, and people were barely appreciating the work that I had done at that time, like with the database on my website. I mean, people were liking it, but the page was hidden in Google. It was like 5th page, and it's a huge site. And if you Google for photos, they are almost all from my page, either directly or where they are showing the results of my blogs that I built for the page, where they are showing them before my page, my website, and so I didn't follow up on that kind of goal to create a database, but I might do it at one point, maybe. We'll see. I have thought about it recently, to just say, okay, I will put out this list and I will update it. But it's a lot of work, It's a lot of work that I wouldn't be doing, that wouldn't be spending on the channel, doing stream, Cactus podcast, whatever it is, So we'll see. But it would definitely help, because right now I have no idea which names are taken and which ones aren't. No idea. Absolutely none. I mean, you can Google it, but very often you would miss some. But what also complicates this problem is that even if someone took a name, they almost certainly didn't describe it scientifically. So you would have a name that doesn't stand, because you can't tell how the body looks. Like the body isn't described in the description where you can say, okay, this is actually the real plant. You just have, very often it's plants that haven't even flowered yet, where you can't even say, in the end you have multiple plants with the same name and different flowers, that kind of stuff, So the situation right now isn't really good. But yeah. So the seedlings here that I opened up are looking great. Everything okay. Has so many of them right now. And here again is the Christmas tree, just to bring in the spirit a little bit. Merry Christmas. My heart is so blessed with Christmas right now. I started the television this morning and it was full of Christmas movies. Nothing better right now. Can't even start the radio because I don't want to listen to Mariah Carey again. Oh, what's this? That's a fungus gnat. Oh man, fungus gnat. That's really bad, but the seedlings are looking okay still. I brought 2 here and we will transplant them, but I forgot to bring the washed pumice that we need. So maybe I will do a video with it. Okay. So yeah, I mean, I just saw a comment about commemoration, and that's exactly what it is with those names. Like they often just like that. It's something that they did after a breeder was no longer working as a breeder. So you could, just honor him, give a little bit of a nod to that breeder. And that happened a lot. That happened with Gräser, Gräsers Schönste, Gräsers Erfolg. All these old school hybrids had the name of the breeder and some sort of adjective in the title or something similar. I don't know. I'm bad at grammar. I'm happy that I can speak. That is just good enough for me. I almost failed school because of stuff like that. You know what? I mean, just strictly the rules of the language, you know, like in school. That wasn't my thing. Okay, these are looking great. Seedlings are good cross also. This is a multi-hybrid Lobivia kind of thing. Very nice, but the fungus gnats really worry me. They really, really worry me. Last few days, the temperatures have been a little lower. I'm saving firewood and I'm saving heating in case my central heating goes out. So I have at least, you know, so it lasts a little longer. So I might not be meeting the right temperature all of the time, but very often. But I think that is why so many of the containers haven't come up. The others that we've sown out, I think there are a good 50 where no germination has happened yet, or only 1 or 2. And that is probably because because of the temperature. It's important to have the temperature at least for a week, for a while, to just, even if you hit high temperatures in one night, it might not be that it is enough to induce germination. So, yeah. Next week, things will be a little bit easier. Next week, I will have heating oil and for that kind of historic heater thing. And I'll also order wood again, firewood. I still have, but it's not a lot. Okay, so I took out a little seedling that was in there. These are in general looking like there's a genetic problem. This is from Humkes Roro, hybrid with Hilde Winterer and Echinopsis. And that is such a genetic distance between them that probably some of them will not make it. I'm almost certain, and I can see that a lot of them are variegated, somewhat variegated. This is, I don't like when I see this kind of stuff, you know, because I look at it from a genetic health kind of thing, and I know that these will be so much work to keep them around, to make sure that you don't lose them. Something has eaten away part of the bag. I'm sure that was Kami. Okay. But yeah, maybe some of them make it. Some of the variegated ones can be able to produce chlorophyll on their own. That would be good from a breeder's point of view. Having a cross like that, this can be great. You can get very unusual kind of flower, very unusual kind of hybrid. But genetically, just from the point of view that it needs to be able to grow on its own roots, they often cannot do that. They often need to be grafted, and I don't like that, because you always have to have grafting stocks at any time, constantly. If you lose a grafting stock, the scion needs to be regrafted. That is so much extra work. Not a fan. Okay, so this is Uwe Karle cross, and they are looking great. Healthy green color. Some spines on them. And a little reddish discoloration from the lamp, where they kind of stress out a little bit over the lamp. But they are in a closed bag, so the setting inside is great. The seedlings in there, they can have a little stress here and there. I have a lot of stress, and it's just fine. You know, I'm fine. So they will be all right with a little discoloration at the tip. Not a problem. In this one, very young seedlings. And looking interesting, because there's also a huge difference in regards to the color of the seedlings. Some of them could be variegated. Some of them healthy green, some of them yellow with red. So there's a wide range of colors here. I'm not sure. If that is good or not, we'll see. If they can survive on their roots, on their own root, that's okay. Then they are great. I'm not against having very distant crosses with hybrids, but I really believe they should be able to survive on their roots. Just if you put them in soil, they should make it. That should be enough. That's not too much to ask. Okay, here's a little grass thingy. Okay. Pink stripes, hybrids from cross of mine. Nice spines, first set of spines, maybe 3 weeks old, maybe 4 even. But this is okay. They're looking great, all healthy, no problems. Do you have videos detailing your indoor seed starting setup? I pretty much have live streamed or filmed a large part of it that we did here. Just starting with the seeds, and we will get back to it. I want to do that on a regular basis. I'm just currently not having the right kind of seed, the right kind of soil. I've been working with cemetery soil, and with the root mealy, like the fungus gnat problems that you've seen in the last videos, that has made it like pointed out that we need a different kind of soil. So we will sow out again, but not right now, not until we got the soil again, the new one. And next time I will use sowing soil, just classic sowing soil. And apart from that, they are currently just under a plant lamp. I just have them on a little rack, and I will show you that in the next videos, in one of the next videos. Apart from that, I have the containers where we've sown out. I put these in front of the oven to induce the germination, to just get heat. So everything is kind of spread out everywhere, like throughout the house. On one side, I have the seedlings that have, like, where I've just started sowing out, where nothing has come up yet. And there I try to guarantee a temperature of maybe 29 degrees Celsius, like higher temperatures. And then I have the seedlings under the plant lamp. And it's just a classic kind of plant lamp from Mars Hydro. Nothing good. No, I mean, it's not bad. The seedlings are looking great. I just want to say that it's probably not something, if you are an expert on lamps. An expert on lamps will look at this and say there are 10 models that are better than that. But for whatever what we are doing here, like, we could put them under the cheapest 20 watt kind of lamp, and it would still be all right, you know. But the better the lamp, the better the light for the seedlings probably is, you know. So, but I will show you the setup with the lamp sometime soon, and then I will pretty much have it all covered on the channel. If you have any kind of problems or questions, I'm always happy to answer. That's why I'm doing the streams and all that, you know. So yeah, these are, let me see. Yeah, this is a cross of mine, and they're looking great, but different kind of sizes. Some seedlings growing very fast, while others stay behind. Some of them even look like they might not even make it because they are variegated. And this is another situation where you would just graft them. If you have endless space and grafting stocks and don't know what to do, just graft them. If you see that some of them are staying behind and have a different kind of color, and you see that they are slowly vanishing, kind of dripping away kind of thing, you know, you can see that the life fades eventually in the ones that cannot produce chlorophyll. So these would have to be grafted, and if you can do it, do it. I won't. I don't have the space to grow them on the roots, you know. But once you start grafting, you end up with so many additional plants every year. Might not be able to graft for a while, apart from what we're doing on the channel. Let me see. 29 degrees Celsius is surprising. Is that literally a one-time thing to kick them off? Not really. I mean, it's 29 is really the point where you at least need to be, where you should be. Everything below can already induce the germination. Very often, the seeds are so viable that it is enough, that you might even be able to get seedlings with 25. But the higher towards 30 you get, the more likely it is that you also wake up the seeds that would otherwise not come up, you know, like the ones that are a little bit on the verge between life and, you know, and the afterlife. That could definitely be. So 29, I sometimes even have temperatures over 30, 32, because at that point you only have seeds, you know, and I mean, there's a point when it's too much heat. But in my opinion, that doesn't happen as often as that you do not have enough heat to induce the germination, because you need it over a constant period, because the seedlings are not really, sometimes not reacting to spikes in temperature where you feel like that one time could be enough. That can happen, but very often they wait a little bit, and it makes sense from an evolutionary point of view, because they want to come up when the setting is right, when the climate is right. They don't want to come up if you have a hot day sometime in winter where the sun is out and everything, you know. So trying to guarantee high temperatures over a good 10, 14 days sometimes. And yeah, 29 degrees really is really pretty conservative, like in regards to the heat. It's a pretty safe point for most seedlings. I'm very happy to answer questions, everything. So yeah, let's continue. And these are looking great, really healthy looking seedlings from an Uwe Kahle cross. Really good spines, really perfect kind of seedling situation. You know, when sometimes you look into a container and you just like what you see, and that is what I have here. And the colors are all through between green and with a little bit of reddish coloration at the tip, like stress, indicator for stress. But in my opinion, this is healthy kind of stress. They have perfect spines, they're growing. That's how I want it. So yeah, these can be closed up again to make sure I don't get a fungus gnat in it. Okay. Next one, and these might be from the same cross because they look similar in regards to the appearance. No, I think it's something different. Yeah, it's something different, but very similar in good impression that they make. Looking healthy. Oh, I forgot to move the kiwi seeds into the freezer. I will do that later. I want to get them to like stratification. I want to get them used to the cold very fast, so we can sow them out. I'm not sure how long they need in a cold environment like a freezer or a fridge, but I will leave it in there for maybe 3 weeks, and then I will try to sow them out on the channel. And by that time, I might have also gotten chili seeds to sow out. I'm really looking forward to that. That could be great. I'm not sure if the cat will eat them, but probably not. She will probably be happy not to have anything to do with them. So yeah, these are looking great. Closing them up again. With these seedlings, it's also the same situation, that they probably benefited from not being disturbed so often by me. Hey, good morning. Welcome to the stream. Thank you guys for joining. I appreciate it. This is a great ritual every morning. It's kind of like a podcast. I said that a few times before because I kind of realized that, you know, I've been doing this for a while, and I was basically kind of doing a podcast with the extra steps. So yeah, might as well face the truth. So these are looking great. one or two where I'm not sure if they will be all right long term, but for the short term they are all right. This is good. This is okay. This is a cross of mine, Lobivia cross. Really interesting kind of stuff. And hopefully we can get the Lobivia to flower inside the house this year. That would be great. I want to definitely try on the like under the plant lamp. Maybe we're lucky. So okay, these are Arboricola, Sörensia arboricola, and they look pretty thin, very small seedlings, fragile little seedlings. It's crazy how much they change later on, like they become these powerful plants that are growing so fast and flowering so much. But right now they're looking very fragile, very tiny. I hope we can get them through. Made a lot of Arboricola crosses this year, more than ever. And some of them have a lot of potential because they have everything that a good hybrid needs. The potential to flower abundantly. Just need a little bit more, bigger flowers, like bigger size, and then it's okay. If they can flower like Arboricola, but with a bigger size, that could be amazing. And anyone who wants to like get some, the species name is Sörensia arboricola. Somewhat it feels to me like a natural hybrid between a Cactus and Echinopsis. Let's see. So yeah, something it had kind of filtered out a comment. So not sure why, but I've seen it. Can't show it, but it's great that they are flowering. Every now and then I have to kind of work the chat myself without moderation. So it's up sometimes. I get kind of comments where it automatically filters them out, you know, for running this thing at the strictest setting, because you never know. Like I've had a few cases where the comments were just people who kind of found the stream like through the public stream, and that's why you kind of have to set it at a pretty strict setting. But every now and then it also filters out good questions that are accidentally filtered out, I guess. So yeah, it just happens. Okay, these are looking mediocre, kind of okay, some okay, but also some look like they might be variegated. Yeah, we might lose the variegated ones, but I'm willing to do it. I don't care. I want to have healthy seedlings, and then when you have a variegation, then it makes it worth it. Then you have one that you can just propagate without having to graft it. I'm not grafting around these kind of sickly looking plants sometimes. Not doing that. Okay, but it can be worth it, of course. You know, it's not that my opinion is the only opinion on this. I'm sure some people disagree. You know, they're like a variegated plant is a great thing. I just feel like it makes things so much easier when they can make it on their own, when they can survive on their own roots. And very often when they aren't able to produce chlorophyll, they are also in other factors lacking a little bit. So I'm trying to raise variegates that are halfway variegated, that are at least able to produce some chlorophyll. Okay, these are looking great. Let's see what's going on in there, and I don't like it. So this morning, I read that Netflix is going to buy Warner Brothers. And as a big fan of the Scooby-Doo franchise, I'm very scared. Hey, good morning. Welcome to the stream. I'm just going through the seedlings and just talking about stuff. So yeah, I saw that Netflix is gonna buy Warner Brothers, and I was I'm not sure how this is going to go, but in my opinion, yeah, I really hope that the Scooby-Doo franchise will be in good hands. I'm really a fan of Scooby-Doo, and I'm not really seeing them use it the way they could. Yeah, someone writing that they let their variegated seedlings get a little bit bigger before they graft them. Yeah, I mean, if it's an option, if it works, if the seedling has the time, sometimes they don't, sometimes they have. So just, I mean, it doesn't. The worst that can happen is that you lose the seedling, and if that's something that doesn't bother you, waiting longer also increases the chances that whatever is alive by then will be somewhat able to produce chlorophyll by itself, So, yeah, that's not a bad idea. So these here in this container, everything has just come up. These are very fresh seedlings, tiny. This is the first stage of cactus seedlings. Some of them just germinated out of the seed corn, and these will need to be undisturbed for a while, so we're not doing anything. Yeah, I'm glad to be back. Thank you, mate. Glad to be back, and it's fun. I have changed back the orientation of the stream to horizontal because it allows me to see the comments at all time, and I like that, that I'm not missing anything, and I really enjoy it. Okay, so this is Lobivia winteriana seeds, and some of them are pretty big. It's really interesting that you have a Lobivia that is actually kind of small later on, and then the seedling is so big in comparison, in relation to the final size. The seedling of Lobivia winteriana are often even bigger than seedlings of columnar species. That's interesting, kind of. And they look a little bit different. They have a shape that, shows that they evolved differently. So yeah, apart from that, they looked okay. These are looking good. Just growing seedlings, just with healthy set of spines. Maybe 4 weeks now, 3-4 weeks, something like that. And they are all okay. Everything going good. So yeah, one thing that I took, that I my plan, if I ever get rich, I would buy the Scooby-Doo franchise. So I would buy it off Netflix then, if they buy Warner Brothers, who owned the Scooby-Doo franchise before that. I'm a big Scooby-Doo fan, and we'll see how that will work on Netflix. I'm really looking forward to getting something, at least something that isn't Velma. But yeah. Okay, so here the seedlings are looking great. This is also Lobivia winteriana, but it's a different kind of size. Like some of the seedlings look a little bit more like columnar cactus seedlings, while others are a little bit bigger. It's interesting why they have such a big range in regards to the height of the seedlings. Apart from that, everything is great. This is a good cross here. Winteriana crossed with 18A 2000. That is an Andreas Wessner hybrid that I really like. Really good kind of hybrid that could be useful for breeding. Okay. Oh, there's a fungus gnat. I hate it. I hate it so much. You can really see that the containers that have fungus gnat problems, they are instantly less healthy, where you always find these little seedlings that you cannot that don't make it. My background changed. Yes, I changed it because there were constantly problems where the YouTube algorithm kind of mistook something you know, kind of accidentally, I'm not sure, they were constantly putting an orange color to videos, you know, like saying that monetization isn't possible, something like that, you know. So I decided, because they couldn't tell me what caused it, that I just take down the background, and I'm not happy about it. You know, I wanted to have some sort of a background, and I will get back to that eventually. I really want to have something else as a background long term. But for now, this is okay. It will work. But I kind of miss the old background. If I ever get big enough to have someone like working at YouTube that I can ask, then I will bring it back. So there will be a time, there might be a time when the channel has risen to extreme heights that I will bring back the background. For now, I don't have someone that I can call. Like, I tried calling them, and they don't even have a phone number listed anymore. So yeah, I sent a message, like an email, and it took like, I don't know, 2 weeks. I don't know. It took a while, you know. And then I decided, you know what? It's easier to just remove everything that could accidentally flag something. Yeah, my mother keeps messaging me about that thing, like yesterday. Yeah, I love the movie background too. But unfortunately, today it's kind of hard. You know, you got to go online, and you always got to have in mind that whatever you say can be misunderstood by an algorithm. You know, you're constantly kind of self-moderating. You know, constantly moderating and trying to prevent problems before they even happen. You know, not because it's justified, but because you do not want to be at the mercy of an automatic algorithm that just, you know, where it takes so long that an actual person looks over it. You know, that is the kind of stuff that I mean. Like, I had the same on Instagram. I was just posting flowers, and the thing was constantly flagging something. I don't know. It's not easy sometimes, you know, because actual moderation, that is something that requires intelligence. Yeah, exactly. They don't understand humor. A computer will never understand humor, or maybe not in the same way. So basically, I want to talk about something. By the way, this is good that it comes up, because yesterday I had a situation on social media that I really want to talk about. So what happened was, someone in our cactus groups posted a plant, posted a question and a plant. And the plant was one of those echinocerois that have a beautiful flower and have that reddish kind of discoloration that they sometimes get. Rigidiformis, something like that, you know. So it was one of the very beautiful flowering echinocerois. And the plant that he posted had a mid part in the plant that was etiolated, where the plant probably didn't get a lot of light. So in that part of the plant, the growth was thinner. So someone had commented and had recommended treatment, or a potential treatment. You know, like, someone posted a big list that looked like a fact sheet list, AI generated kind of fact sheet list. That's how it looked like. You know, it's not easy to say, okay, this is 100% AI, but in my opinion, it looked like AI, and that AI thing had recommended removal of the infection, so that whatever has made that kind of checklist misunderstood the etiolated part in center of the plant as an infection, because that species, that echinoceroid species, actually has a reddish discoloration sometimes in stress. And that mid part of the plant was so stressed, like during that time, the plant was so stressed that it had a discoloration. And again, that discoloration happens in that species naturally. But it was particularly bad because in that part, so that user posted this checklist, which recommended removal, treated it as an infection, and then the user followed up on it and removed and took that plant apart. And it was a pretty big plant. It wasn't a small one. It was one that really took a while to grow to that size. And then I saw the post and was really shocked how that this kind of removing something from a plant is the last thing that you want to do. You want to first try all kinds of other things, that you can do to and you need to be 100% certain that this is an infection. And at this point, AI just can't make the distinction. It's just that a lot of the people who are moderating these hobby groups, they are highly specialized niche experts. Very often, like, people see so many different things on the Facebook groups. We see so many posts. We have seen thousands plants like that. So you kind of have the context to see something like that and know that it isn't an infection. But AI, just being the way it is, just looking at what's most probable, will recommend removal. So yeah, it led to that plant being taken apart. The man was taking it apart, or the woman, and afterwards, of course, there was no infection. And I only seen it afterwards. If I had seen that before, like that kind of piece, that advice that was given, I would have removed it, which is what I did. Eventually, I removed it, but it was too late at that point, So that is also what's coming with AI. AI recommending kind of treatment that will not, that where you can't take it back. You can't put that plant back together. You might try to graft it, but come on, you will not be able to put that plant back together. And again, I in my opinion, it was clearly AI. But proving it, I don't want to prove it. It doesn't matter. If the user who posted it wanted to help, I'm sure the user wanted to help. That he wanted to kind of provide advice that is factual. But in this case, in my opinion, it didn't happen. In my opinion, definitely not. So I recommended, I afterwards posted below that thing and said, hey, this is what I think has happened here. In my opinion, it is an etiolated part in the mid center of the plant, and removal was unnecessary. I wouldn't even want to say it was the worst thing to happen, because that plant might have become unstable later on, like stability issues with that thinner part in center. So it might not have been a bad idea to cut it completely. Like that might even make sense, But when you are cutting such a big plant, it will instantly stop flowering. It will take years until it flowers again the way it used to. Eventually, you might have more plants if he doesn't lose it to infection now that he has cut it, because right now we're in winter, and healing infections in winter is kind of difficult, So it opened all that big can of worms that we could have prevented if the AI had just, or whatever the user used to get to that checklist, whatever he used would have been erring on the side of caution. Just saying, okay, you might have to do a removal, but you have to be sure that whatever it is going on there is actually an infection. Something that kind of brings doubt, to at least rethink the future steps and whatever to do, and very often these AIs have kind of, they're writing it below where they say, hey, if whatever we do here kind of causes problem, we didn't really mean it. It was just a joke. But whatever they want to write below, like I'm sure they had some kind of disclaimer at some point. But people just trust advice that they are given sometimes, So it's also important to keep that in mind when AI is kind of everywhere now in hobby groups. And I see it on Facebook where it is like that meta AI below the posts, and it is often so ridiculously wrong. It feels more like they are trying to gain information about me than providing an actual meta AI thing. I'm really bothered by the fact that they are rolling it out so widely that it is so hard to avoid it. Also on Facebook, like in groups that are dedicated to actual plants, to live plants that exist, If I wanted to have a group about fictional plans, then I would have started one. But I have real plans that I want, that where we want to have a group that is of help to people, giving care assistance, helping people to treat their plans, helping them to identify them. I don't want to sit here and look at fake plans all day long. I mean, it might be great from a point of view, from a platform point of view, or from the point of view from a creator who just wants to monetize something, who just wants to earn money with something. But in my opinion, it was just not in the interest of whatever we were doing on the platform. I constantly have to filter out AI now. It has kind of become normal to filter out AI, and they have the means to recognize it as AI 100%. They could just say, okay, let groups filter out AI completely. And but at this point, I haven't seen it. It's like they haven't given up on that option yet. But in my opinion, it will happen because people are getting angry at it for good reasons. I had the same thing happening in a mushroom group where I'm at, like just edible kind of mushroom thing, and people collecting in the forest, and it was giving like recipes for very dangerous, toxic kind of mushrooms, like that kind of stuff. It's a huge problem in our business, in our industry. Let's call it an industry or niche, whatever. Nature is important. Even if you have, like, if you are identifying a species and you are looking at AI photos of the species, you are instantly having something that is similar, but it's not the same. It's not the same thing that you can use as the standard to compare against. You will be constantly diluting how a species looks, because the AI will continuously reuse whatever he has, and it will get worse and worse. So you might if you search for a certain name, a botanical species, AI might show you a different kind of thing than what the original plant would look like. So these are problems that I have seen coming, and I hope it will be fixed. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's word probability. They're looking at what is statistically, what would be the most likely outcome of something, or what would be the most likely reply to something. And like I said, people that run these hobby groups, they are very specialized. They are people that usually love the hobby, that have dedicated half their life to a hobby. Of course, it will be hard for AI to have that kind of special interest knowledge that dedicated hobbyists just have. And yeah, so, but I don't want to blast AI all the time. I know I have some friends and good friends that I respect, that tell me that they can use AI to kind of, that helps them, like when it gives them photos of their loved ones, like kind of in that sense helping with their lives. So I understand that point of view too. I don't want to blast AI all the time. But yesterday, when that happened in the group, I was writing down, this is the thing that gives you a good argument against AI, because AI has look, I don't want to be in a situation where I say it was 100% AI, but in my opinion, it was. And other people suggested that reply was AI too. It wasn't just me. I became aware of the post because someone said, this is AI generated reply, and this isn't the right mode for this kind of plant. And so I became aware of it. And that is something that will come up a lot. That will happen a lot more. Like, what happens if that happens where someone is showing where eventually there is real damage. In this case, a plant got damaged, and the guy can reroute, or the woman can reroute the different pieces, and now have 3 different plants if they manage to keep it alive. But apart from that, I would not have recommended to cut that plant. Never. I like having big plants, even if they have problems, even if they have little kind of, I don't know, defects, the way you want to call it. Life isn't perfect, and plants that have blemishes, skin problems, it doesn't make them worse, then they flower and they have this amazingly beautiful flower. So the skin problems, or in this case the etiolation in center, wouldn't have been a problem, in my opinion, because I know how beautiful the flowers of that plant are, and now that thing will not flower for maybe 5 years. So, but okay, but I wanted to talk about this. Maybe I'm even doing something where I'm talking about this on a wider scale, because it affects AI. It really does. This is a current topic. This is an important current topic. And yeah, but they are currently not interested to tackle that, Okay, so over here I'm opening up seedlings and it's a mess. It looks like the fungus gnats really went crazy in there. Here's a seedling that I need to take out. There's just an eaten stump left. Yeah, someone's writing that seeing semi-fake, semi-real plants a lot on Facebook. Unrealistic. Yeah, I mean that's happening, and they are using, like, when you see this AI generated kind of plant and flower, and it has some sort of vague resemblance to how the species would normally look like, you are seeing traits that are taken from different kind of photos or different kind of situations, so they are mixing so much together, and then eventually they show flowers that are just anatomically wrong, that are just that make me nervous when I see them, because I know how the flower is supposed to look like, and it doesn't look like that. When I see that kind of a green kind of stigma, like from Echinocereus, and I see it on a plant, on a columnar cactus, then it makes me really uncomfortable as someone who knows. I don't know. It's just bothering me. It's not even that it makes me, it's not something that is a huge thing, but it's just completely wrong if you really care about any kind of evolution and how the plants, they evolve to different kind of pollinators. There's a lot of important facts that are there about every flower and the way it evolved. Some of them are just, they evolved for different kind of pollinators, and when you have a flower that is a mix of 5 different things, then yeah, I mean, to me it doesn't look good. Maybe for someone who doesn't know how the flower looks, it looks good, but to me it doesn't. Yeah, and I mean, exactly, and you are opening a lot of doors to people who use these photos to claim they have something that looks similar when they are selling seeds, so it's a huge problem. And also, I mean, this stuff will be used so widely for dubious reasons, for just people saying, hey guys, I have this amazing couch here, and pick it up, send me a little bit of money, like, where they can use that kind of stuff to really cause harm, cause financial harm, that kind of thing, where it can really where it can be really difficult. And there need to be ways to filter it out, because otherwise our life will become a lot more difficult. I just want to have the chance to not see it all the time. I want to have a chance to filter it out as a group moderator completely. Just being able to say, okay, we stand for nature. That's why we are here. We are growers. We are not, I don't know, digital artists that create something that doesn't exist. We are growers. That is in the name of the group. So I just want to have that kind of content exclusively on the group. And that matters, Yeah, exactly. I mean, foraging guides, it is giving the wildest advice sometimes, but always with an exclaimer, like with some sort of little thing where they write at the bottom that whatever is written there, that you can take them to court over it. But in the meantime, whoever has taken that advice can be in a bad situation if it is like, foraging. There's so many dangerous plants out there. And then it is, in this case, the damage wasn't really substantial, but there will be cases where they just should have put something on it where you see instantly it's AI, just to have that 1 second knowledge where and even then you have to verify it, but at least it would give people who are not so experienced, like older people, a chance to avoid it. But yeah, I'm not seeing it in the next year. This will continue another year. At some point it will happen. At some point they will have no other chance than to roll out that option that you can completely filter out AI everywhere. That will happen, but I'm not sure at what point, but it will have to happen. Otherwise, our normal lives wouldn't be functioning the way they do now. This stuff would be so abused, and yeah, they just need to solve that problem fast. Just also for older people, like a month ago, or maybe it's a little bit longer than a month ago, someone called my grandmother, claiming to be a relative, saying they needed money, that kind of stuff, I can see that with AI being so much worse. So they need to find a way to give people at least some sort of reality, a sense for reality that has to be there, because otherwise people will go, like, it will not be good. I know there are some people who would love to have that kind of situation, but as someone who just wants society to become better and be a good place to live in, that would be a terrible thing. So yeah, that was my my experience yesterday. And I really hope that the pieces that the man has, or the woman, that user, that member has, that the pieces will survive, will kind of be able to callus them, be able to root them and grow them again. So yeah. And then the comments were, and then in the comments, it became even argumentative. Like that post kind of got worse and worse in like within just 10 or 15 comments, starting from that AI advice. And eventually it got to the point where name calling and stuff like that happened. And I was glad that I saw it, I don't want to have that kind of a thing in the group, like I want people to know that when they give advice, make sure to speak out of experience, out of real experience, not giving advice just because it is written somewhere, even if it's just Google, very often it is important to know exactly what's going on, and that there are just not so many people who can do it. Even the people like in our community, like the Cactus community people, even they often argue about stuff. It's become normal to not agree. So, and you can kind of I can see that getting worse when you are throwing AI in the mix. I don't want to argue over AI all the time. That is not why I decided to do that. I enjoy the hobby. I want to have the hobby. I want to show the hobby. I want to showcase the hobby. I don't want to provide a platform for discussions that are exactly the right reason, like a good argument for a limitation of AI. So yeah, we will not, in our group, I will not approve AI posts. If I see it, at some point it will become so bad that I can't see it, that I'm not able to maybe make a distinction every time reliably. But if I see it, I will not approve it. So yeah, take care. Good night. Yeah, absolutely. Like text. I'm referring to a comment saying it's hard to kind of, say it reliably. Text is text, In this case, it was the way it was formatted. It was a kind of spreadsheet, with different kind of points and all. So you could kind of already see from the way it was presented that something had done this automatically, or the person had at least took immense work to get some kind of I mean, it was Facebook, and Facebook doesn't, they have that kind of a text editor, but it's kind of difficult to kind of write it just like that, you know? So that was one of the reasons why I decided, in order to err on the side of caution, also because at this point, I've seen that something had happened already, but I really wanted to end that kind of. I didn't want to see people reading that kind of advice and thinking it was perfect. You know, you can always argue about the right approach during an infection, but it was clear afterwards that there was no infection, and I could have told them. I mean, if I had seen it earlier, I would have told them. So yeah, I mean, that is how the future will be, and I'm okay. Look, there's always technical progress, and these are the big questions that our society needs to solve. They just need to solve it. They can't not do anything and let it be like that. They just need to. It's not a problem. We can have AI, and we can have these kinds of hobby groups. It's not something that is mutually exclusive. We just have to find a way to put a label on it and make it seen all the time. Something that, like with Bitcoin, you know, like Bitcoin, where you can kind of see that every information in the photo, I don't know, you know, but this is the kind of approach that I think they should do. Making sure that reality stays reality, that we always know that whatever species we are looking at right now is actually the right species and not something that has been replicated with every piece. Because if you replicate something, you will have these subtle differences that you didn't have in the original. You know, I'm just getting a message about AI, like from a friend of mine. I'm not sure, is he watching my live stream? Could that be? I'm not sure, but you know, AI is just a big subject right now. And in my opinion, if you ask me, it is a bubble. That is my opinion. My opinion is that at some point, people will become so agitated by all the little things that AI gets wrong that it will escalate, you know, that it will lead to money loss of these startup companies, all these new AI companies that are everywhere now. I believe the market isn't so big. I believe that the interest of the common people who will lose their jobs that just outweighs the interest of the 10 billionaires that want to have AI as a endless you know, tool for content development, you know. And it wouldn't work because it would instantly constantly decrease the quality of the content. And that can't be our goal as humanity, like just putting out mediocre content all the time. We should really, it would constantly need people to feed that kind of content machine, to put it in, because otherwise it would just degrade the information that is in there. That's just how it is. If you have copied something 100 times, just on an old copy machine, you know how it is. And I'm sure the same applies to other ways, to digital copies too. And I'm sure it can degrade in that way, that whatever you are using in your pool will become constantly worse and worse. So we would have to always feed the information, feed everything into the machine, and lose the jobs that they wanna replace AI with. You know, we need to be okay with that. You know, like that is something that the common people have to say, yeah, I'm fine with that. You know, and I'm not seeing it. I mean, it could happen, but I really think at some point AI will spectacular, like the virtual reality goggles, all that stuff. It will be exactly like that. Like NFTs, it will be like that. It still has a use, and it could be great for education, but that marketable huge thing that they wanted to do with it, it's not happening. It's not happening because they would end up in so many situations like what I just explained in my video, in this video. So many situations where every company would suddenly be faced with legal litigation liability issues, that kind of stuff. So at some point they would say, oh, maybe we have taken this a bit too fast. Maybe we should remove these AI things out of every app that is out there, because it opens up so much room for legal problems, for liability issues, that stuff. And that's really what I believe what will happen. And it will still be there. AI will still be there, but it will not. It will not be the huge thing that they are trying to make it now, because the use for it is fairly limited. It is great for artists, like for people who want to create something, and we can argue about what's an artist and what not. Like I've seen a lot of arguments about them being called, like, I don't know, digital artist, AI artist, whatever. I don't even want to touch it, because at some point, some people will kind of use that art form, and let's call it an art form, and push the art form to a new level, becoming artists. I don't want to say anything that you cannot use, like you something that you create via AI cannot be art, because at some point it becomes so complex and so complicated that it can be seen like art, but I just believe that apart from these few people, like these industries, if you have a social network, that is a great thing. But people who like to earn money, for them it's bad news. If every app, if every AI of every app could reliably handle that kind of thing, people coming in from everywhere asking questions, then it would be great. But that's not what's happening right now. Every company has an AI, and it's terrible. You kind of talk with it, like I recently had a chat with an AI, like a chat bot. I mean, it's not AI. It's a chat bot. But it wasn't helping me. It couldn't help me. None. I haven't been with an AI chatbot or with a chatbot that has helped me, and that is happening everywhere. So at some point, it will all kind of, people will realize they've been investing in an industry that will not be what they hoped it would be, even if there's use for it, even if movie companies would love to use it to no longer pay actors. But there's all these, like there's the Actors Guild, there's the Directors Guild, I just read this morning about Netflix acquiring Warner. This is going to be a huge thing. And with Christopher Nolan as the head of the Academy, like the movie Academy thing, they will do this, they will take this very seriously, and it will be constantly like an argument for many years, while the financial use is still unclear. It can help people if they would use it in school, but then they have to use it with the facts. They can't use it with some, if every country has their own history, then it's not good for education. You could use it for that stuff, giving access to education to people, but I don't think that's the plan. So yeah, I don't know. It's just a huge subject, In this case, I'm just glad that in this case it's not that I'm not a group moderator in groups where plant identification can lead to very drastic results. Like it has become very difficult for groups who ID people who help. They're not paid. They're just people who want to help, and they're identifying plants here, there, and when someone identifies the wrong kind of plant, it can lead to terrible outcome when it's stuff like foraging, people collecting herbs, whatever, vegetables, So in that regard, I mean, cacti there are some that are very unhealthy, but it isn't like it is with mushrooms and that kind of stuff. I wouldn't want to be a moderator in such a group right now. I would quit. Honestly, I'm telling you, I would quit right now. I would say with all the problems, and then you are a group moderator, and you have to make sure that whatever advice is given on the group is not hurting people. I would say no, this is it. Thank you. So because of that, AI is so kind of difficult to use right now, a lot of the borders between what's a bot and what's AI, you know, they are already kind of fluid at this point, you know, and people have been using bots already. You've gotten a lot of fairly low quality replies already, and now I think it will become worse. Like that is what I personally fear. And my time as a group moderator is, I think it's coming to an end. I've been doing that for maybe, I don't know when I started, 2014, 2000, something like that, you know, for a very long time. And I'm just not, there's just not a lot of, you are constantly working, you're constantly stressed because of the auto moderators that are running. They are so unreliable. And then you constantly have to defend yourself against false positives, that kind of stuff, you know. So I'm not doing group moderation for much longer. I'm every day I consider to quit it. I'm just one bad decision away from quitting, from walking away from moderating in that sense, you know, because I know what the future will be like in that area. You know, I don't want to have a taste of that. I'm currently doing it for the community because a lot of the users that are posting there are friends of mine. A lot of people are posting because they like me, because they want to support what I do. You know, they are posting their stuff in my group and not in others. But it has become so difficult to be a moderator. It's no fun anymore. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. But I'm glad that I was able to talk about it like this time. So just that the issue has been documented for once, that this can lead to more complications. And I know a lot of my friends, like on Facebook, you know, I try not to be too much anti-AI. I don't want to be like that. I'm not like that. I'm a hopeful guy. Like when I first had a smartphone in my hand, it was like I had magic. I was able to communicate with the world in a way I never did before. And it was awesome. So yeah, I'm not against new technology, but I see a lot of risk, and you need to always factor in the good that technology does if you roll it out everywhere. And I'm just not seeing it. Not seeing that that comparison between, like, weighing up the positive of the normal people, like who will be replaced with just having a nice thing that copies stuff, you know. Like, I'm not seeing it as a plus. So yeah, but on the other hand, you know, it could be used for good things. I'm not against that. Like, people, you know, a friend of mine said, like, their partner has passed away and they used that AI thing to generate a few nice photos with them. And in that case, I understand. In that case, I'm completely changing, like, you know, for the first time, I started to rethink my own kind of opinion, you know, started to think maybe I'm just unfairly harsh about AI. But yeah, apparently there's good reasons to be a little bit skeptical. I'm sure that in 10 years, people will look back and say, I told you all the time AI was bad. But right now is the time when they tell you, hey, don't be against progress. There's no stopping it. It will come no matter what. You have no say in it. So just be with the masses. And that's how they are rolling it out, kind of making it look like no matter what we do, it doesn't matter. It will matter. I'm sure of that. Wait and see. People are already agitated when they see AI. It has happened on my, like, people posting on my circle on Facebook. People get really angry when something is AI suddenly, you know? And I mean, we'll see how it goes. It doesn't matter for me. Like, it isn't really that my life depends on it. You know, I'm not an artist, but I am loyal with the artists. I mean, I would love to be an artist. I've tried starting to draw, and I have a lot of problems with my muscles, you know, because the Lyme disease problem. So I have trouble holding the pencil and all that. So I would love to be an artist, and I'm just loyal with them. I'm loyal with the creators that are already poorly paid. I'm loyal with the common people who are already poorly paid in customer service, phone service, all that stuff. These people are poorly paid. They work a lot. They're trying to do it everywhere. I mean, at some point you just have to say no. At some point you have to say, you know what? Or we could just continue with our society in a way where people get paid. Because let's say AI takes all the jobs. Just do that thought experiment and say AI takes all the jobs. Then you have so many people who don't have a job. So what do you do now? And then you have to say, okay, we might have to give them a universal income. And you can already see how that will go. If you look into the world right now, people were talking about food stamps just a month ago. People were criticizing others for taking food stamps, for getting Coca-Cola, for that kind of stuff, That was something that happened just a month ago. I saw it. And I normally don't comment on politics. That was where I drew the line and said, okay, people on food stamps need help. They have proven that they need help. And it's not only about them, but also about having a lot of children in the household. You are constantly, if you have poor people that can't afford food, then you have a family of people who can't afford food. You have a family who will never have the chance to escape that. You need people to be able to get up again and become like a part of society again, because otherwise society doesn't function. People have to be able to pay taxes. So if they can't pay taxes, like if you don't want to give them a universal income, then how will you replace all the jobs that are being taken? How do you want to do that? Like how would you do that without saying, okay, and the jobs aren't there, maybe, depending on how many jobs AI will claim, the jobs might not be there. I'm sure it will create new jobs, but we're talking a whole lot of different industries. We're talking many of them. So yeah, this is a huge subject, and I want to talk about it too much because it is important to me, because I know that things that are currently happening, I'm not happy with it. I don't believe that. I believe that you should be able to live from your work, just having a society where you can do a job and live comfortably with that job. And if we can't guarantee it anymore, we don't even have to start with AI, because it will become worse through it. Hey, good morning. Welcome to the stream. I'm not around much longer, a little bit maybe. I just realized Kami was just on the cat toilet and I have the door open and it's terrible here. So yeah, hey, yes, I remember you. I really do. I mean, I have a brain that is very forgetting, but I remember the first name. Hey, Dave. No, I will not be. I love technology. I look at the Amish and what they do, and I love it. On one side, I kind of like that community spirit, building a barn together. That is completely new to me. I'm not like that. I'm not someone who comes together with the neighborhood and like builds a barn. I'm not like that. But yeah, I like technology. It's what I want to say, but some of their ideas are there for a reason, some of that anti-society kind of stuff. Like, you see that they have a point, like a pretty good one, actually. Like when you are growing up with as a child with a smartphone, with how much attention it takes away, with how hard it becomes to focus on things, that kind of stuff. So I can really see that being a big thing in the future, a big theme, people moving away from technology again, being back to nature, like what I do on this channel. Like that's why I believe into my channel, like where I believe that people will look at artists. Let's call me an artist with what I create. I create these videos where I make sure that the plants are fed, that they get fertilized, that they are watered, that the background is there, like the birds I spent the whole year making sure the bird populations around have enough to eat, that kind of stuff, you know. And when I film my video, I have this perfect thing. It's the flower, it's the bees, it's the insects, it's natural life that we are moving away from. And that is why I believe I will succeed with what I do. You know, people will look at this and will see all these AI generated flowers, and they would want to get back to the original, to people making it happen. So yeah. Hey guys. Yeah, I'm not saying that anymore. I'm not sure. I gotta be more careful with the stuff that I say out loud. Afterwards it comes out, it's some kind of sort of like, you know, a banned political party or some stuff, so I don't want to say anything wrong. But yeah. Yeah, no, I can't. I'm not sure. I said it before, I think, in one of the streams, and I don't know what it is, and I got to be careful that they don't moderate me away here. You know, so you got to live. Maybe I'm doing like something where I put quotes in, like just an AI generated voice machine. That would be ironic in that case. So yeah, I think I got to go offline. But it's been great today. I mean, this was a great stream. I will put this online, and I'm sure that a lot of people will see this afterwards and will discuss it, because this is the stuff that currently happens where you can't talk about it because it isn't seen. In this case, it was like someone who kind of talked about it, and we will discuss it again. But it was great that I could do it today. You know. So yeah, thank you guys for being here. I believe a friend of mine has participated too, because he kept messaging me. So hey, mate, great you made it. I'm sure, you know, I've been talking to the stream like to my friend, and I said, this thing is great. You should look at it one day. And I'm sure he saw that, you know, like that potential kind of thing, like the way this could really spiral into something bigger. And that is already before we are streaming from outdoors. So yeah, I enjoyed that. Thank you for coming by, and I'll get back tomorrow. Talking soon, guys. Thank you. Thank you.